Oh, man, listen up. Terence Bud Crawford, bodyguard, head of security, he has now filed an official federal lawsuit against the city of Omaha, the city that raised Terence Crawford, after a now viral, and I do mean viral, traffic stop. In this video, that's what I'm going to break down for you. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Things are definitely getting shaken up, I guess you could say. Now, this is why I tell you guys I am the best in the business, and it's not even close. You got to subscribe to the channel because I talk about all these things, and this is probably news to some of y'all. It's because you haven't hit the subscribe button, because I went over it in real time when it happened. So to give you guys, in case you're new, the cliff notes. Terence Crawford, after he beat Canelo, he had like a victory parade similar to when he fought Errol Spence and beat him. City came out. It looked like the city was showing love. Crawford's on the float. Typical stuff. Everything at the parade seemingly went well from what I've heard or seen, until later that night, where police officers pulled up on a car occupied by Crawford and I guess his head of security and others, whoever in the car, right? And they were like real aggressive, and Crawford and them were held at unpoint, right? You guys know what I'm saying. So for whatever reason, the officer, I don't know, because Crawford, I mean, he got to be big and huge in Omaha. If nowhere else didn't recognize him, his own city got a record. He just had a whole parade. So everybody was like, this is kind of weird. It's weird that he had a parade, and then the officer, again, I can't speak for the officer, but if you had a whole parade and key to the city and all that type of stuff, and 12 was out, it would seem to me like you would know that celebrity. But for whatever reason, it escalated to the point of pulling the blick out. And now the head of security of Team Crawford has officially filed a lawsuit against him and saying it was unjust, according to the AP, Associated Press. Now, again, I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. As of me recording the video, I haven't really heard any other content creators talking about it. Now, I don't watch boxing content, but, you know, people send me stuff. So just know where you're getting your information from. That's all I ask of you, right? That's all I ask. Know where you get your information from and pay it forward and holla at the kid. So I'm going to pull it up for you guys so you'll be able to see. Boom. You never know. Passengers in Terence Crawford's vehicle alleged rights were violated. So this is from December 8th. The head of security of world boxing champ Terence Crawford and two other people filed a federal lawsuit, which I told you at the beginning of the video, against Omaha's police chief and more than a dozen officers. More than a dozen is crazy. More than a dozen officers for their conduct during a September traffic stop. Crawford is an Omaha native, which we know, and he was stopped early September 28th on suspicion of reckless driving hours after his parade, which I already mentioned, right, was held in downtown Omaha to celebrate his victory over Canelo 2 weeks earlier. Police ordered Bud Crawford and his bodyguard, Kasim Shabazz, and two other passengers out of the vehicle at Blick Point. Pull them blickies out, right? Crawford was ticketed and released, is not a plaintiff in the lawsuit. So be clear, this Crawford, he's not alleging anything, or Crawford is not suing. Put it that way. Crawford is not the one doing this. It was filed in the U.S. District Court in Nebraska. A request for comment was left with the city's attorney's office. Shabazz and the other vehicle occupants, George Williams and Nadia, they're seeking monetary damages, according to Shabazz and the police report. Shabazz told an officer who approached the vehicle that he was carrying a legal firearm as his security job permits or requires, right? 3 seconds after Shabazz's disclosure, officers on the driver's side and the passenger side ordered everybody out the vehicle at Blick Point, the lawsuit said. Wow. Police Chief Todd, in a statement hours after the incident, said Crawford, who was leaning over the car's console, told the passenger side officer he had a legal fire. But the officer at the driver's side window didn't hear that exchange. That is when the officer on the driver's side spotted the Blick belonging to Crawford on the floorboard, and along with the other officer, they drew weapons. All 4 people exited the vehicle without incident. The lawsuit alleges the 4 were handcuffed for 30 minutes. The police chief said they were handcuffed for 10 minutes. Uh-oh. So you already have contradictory stories. I hope they had body cam on. You know what I mean? Roll that body cam. See what's popping with that body cam. And then you'll see how long it was. The lawsuit alleges the officers violated constitutional rights of the occupants for drawing and pointing their weapons at them after Shabazz's legal disclosure of his Blick. The chief said the officers followed department policy. The lawsuit said the policy violates the Fourth Amendment prohibition against excessive force. The plaintiff also alleges, among other things, the police have a custom of making discriminatory stops, traffic stops against black people, and are not adequately trained on constitutional limitations governing use of force during encounters with citizens lawfully carrying firearms. The lawsuit is asking for damages, physical, emotional, and psychological and dignitary injuries that were suffered as a direct result of the officers' conduct. Wow. So, listen, if you go back to my initial video, I told you pretty much what I'm prepared to say right now. The whole situation is very unfortunate because it's tough because, first of all, I'm not the judge, jury, and the executioner. They're going to have to see their day in court. But it is a tough incident to kind of go over. Here's the thing. I'm very fair. I'm very calm, very level-headed. And the reality is sometimes people will have a valid claim, and like Sandra Bland, pure acism, right? We get it. But then there are other times where people will claim that, you know, this and that happened in dealing with the police, but they didn't cooperate or they didn't do. So for me, I wasn't there. So I don't know what happened outside of there's like a 10-second clip that hit the internet. So they're going to have to investigate this. That's all I'm saying. They're going to have to investigate it because I know a lot of cops, right? Like just people who have been cops or whatever. And the reality is, if they pull you over and they see a blick on the ground, if allegedly they didn't hear, which, you know, that part sounds a little sus, then that's what's going to happen. They're going to pull their blicks out. And unfortunately, there are a lot of cops that be profiling, and now that just makes it worse. You got black skin on top of they see a blick, so da-da-da. So I don't know. It sounds unfortunate, but from a legal standpoint, I don't know if they have a case. I would have to hear the evidence from both sides, because of course you're going to feel violated if it happened to you. Like, they were even saying in the tape, like, is all this necessary? And they were kind of pleading with the cop, and the cop didn't really seem like, I don't know. And I've been pulled over by cops, right, in San Francisco. And it was bad. It was worse than that tape that I seen. I'll just leave it at that, right? So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. Unfortunate situation. We'll see if they have a case. We'll see if they get money from the city of Omaha. Interesting that Crawford is not attached to this, because he like the main person. I understand he got bread, you know what I mean? So he don't necessarily need to spend his time in court. But it is interesting that Crawford is not a plaintiff here if he felt the rights were violated. So I don't know. I don't know why the bodyguard did it only and the two other people that were in there. But we here now. We gonna see. About to put my headphones on for y'all. And we'll get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to get to it. You feel me? Let's go.
From the bodyguard of boxing champ Bud Crawford.
We broke the news last night at 10 that 3 passengers in the car, including Kasim Shabazz, are suing the city of Omaha after that traffic stop back in September. The lawsuit was filed on the same day the Omaha Police Department gave media an inside look into training requirements that are underway for all officers when they approach a car.
The Omaha Police Department also now requires officers to always ask if there are guns in the car for every traffic stop. First Alert 6's Ron Johnson tonight with the concerns that led Crawford's bodyguard to file the federal lawsuit.
Kasim Shabazz says this lawsuit is about accountability.
It's one of those things.
Hey, yo, who is the narrator? Kasim Shabazz says, I'm so sorry. My bad.
It's something that has to happen.
This comes after a September traffic stop where Shabazz, Terence Bud Crawford, and 2 other passengers were ordered out of the car Crawford was driving at gunpoint when police saw a gun inside. Shabazz says they announced they had legal guns in the car when Crawford was pulled over for allegedly driving carelessly. According to OPD, the officer did not hear them. Yesterday, Shabazz and 2 other passengers in the vehicle filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Omaha and more than a dozen officers, including the police chief. Terence Crawford did not join the suit. While Shabazz sees the new requirement for police as a positive step, he has concerns about the bill's overall impact.
I believe firmly in firearm accountability. I'm not for the LB 77. I'm not in support of that.
Shabazz says he wants to see police held to the same standard as everyone else.
We do all of these things so that we can be law-abiding, so that we can live up to the standard of the law. So then, with that being the criteria, we expect for that same law to protect us when we're wronged.
In Omaha, Ron Johnson, First Alert 6.
Now, the city has released this statement today saying they plan to vigorously defend against this lawsuit. The statement goes on to say they believe the Omaha police officers acted justifiably under the circumstances.
Dang. So the city's saying we ain't did nothing wrong. Now, the other issue is, I'm not trying to speculate or play devil's advocate. I just got to keep it real. The other issue is the whole traffic stop, they said, was because Crawford was behind the wheel and he was whipping, he was whipping them corners, bending them corners and reckless driving. So if he got like a muscle car and he was really whipping it, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're probably going to get pulled over. If you were too turnt, you happy you beat Canelo City, everybody happy you celebrating, you know what I mean? Doing donuts or whatever was the case. So I don't know. But it's not for me to know. I don't really care because, you know what I mean? Like, not like I don't care, but it's not for me to resolve. That's all I'm saying. So this is their battle. They're going to have to fight it. I'm going to continue dropping the news and let y'all know what was going on. But obviously a scary situation for everybody involved. There was even a quote where they said, we honestly thought we were going to DIE, right? We thought we were going to DIE when we got pulled over. So they're shaken up by it. The people in the car, they didn't like it. And outside of Crawford, it sounds like everybody else in the car is in on the lawsuit. Now, some people will be like, oh, you're trying to get some money. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. For me, like, again, I'm not a judge, jury, and executioner, but for me, it sounds like 50-50 pending the investigation. That's my honest assessment. It sounds like 50-50 because, one, if you're reckless driving, they have cause to pull you over, facts. Two, if you have a blick on the ground, most cops are going to probably draw arms or be suspicious or whatever. Allegedly, like, if someone says they didn't hear you, I don't really know how you fight that. If you have music on or something, they could just say something. So again, I don't know. I don't know how to play out, but I'm just saying there's angles there. And then the other part that I read on the ESPN write-up is the bodyguard dude was talking about they have a history of discriminating, which we know to be true with certain law enforcement officers. They definitely be discriminating, profiling stuff, but it's easier to say it as opposed to like prove it. Like court, you guys have to understand how court works. In the court of law, you can't just, oh, I said it, it's true. Even if we all know, you got to understand how the court of law, the judicial system works. Even if it's like quote unquote common knowledge, you still have to be able to prove whatever you're saying beyond a reasonable doubt. You dig? Like, you have to prove that they have a history of profiling. So that's going to be work for your attorneys and your lawyers or whatever to prove your angle of it, as opposed to just saying it, even though, again, we know these things exist in the world. Proving it in court is something totally different. Like, for example, there are some fighters that I truly believe have, at some point in their career, used PEDs in boxing. I have good intel and people in camps that have told me certain people have used, and there's other people I have suspicions on. However, I don't really mention it on my channel for a couple different reasons. Like, one, you're setting yourself up for a defamation and slander lawsuit, even if it's true, because you have to be able to prove it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we all know there's people who are cheating and juicing and on PEDs. Knowing it and believing it in your gut, that's totally different than being able to, before a judge and a jury, prove it in the court of law. You understand? Like, it's easy for me to say John Doe's, he on PEDs. But then if he sues me for defamation, I would have to prove it. And I can't just use hearsay. Oh man, Johnny told me that he was on PEDs. So that's a example for you guys. Proving it in the court of law, you have to be sharp. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't have a dog in the race. I hope they all reach a verdict that works out for all of them. You know what I mean? Because we know in America, especially in these times with the president and whatnot, you know what goes on. And some of these officers do need deeper training, but you're in for a big battle. We'll put it that way. Because the city is not going to want to lose this type of suit, like, because it kind of makes them look bad. So and the article said they're fighting it. So they're definitely going to fight it. And they're going to have to prove that what they did and how they conducted themselves is justifiable. And again, if what the articles and all the reports that I've read are true, I haven't seen, like, if there's a body cam, there's more footage or whatever. However, if what is being reported is true, reckless driving, they pulled you over, blick on the floorboard, they got scared and drew weapons and told everyone to get out. That's probably what would happen. So to prove that they did it because you're black, or to prove they did it to like discriminate and antagonize you specifically, I can't wait to hear what your argument is in the court of law to beat the city. You know, and again, I'm not Crawford. Maybe that's why Crawford's not involved in the lawsuit. I don't know, because he was a part of it too, and he was the one talking in the video. So that, to me, that kind of raises a little bit of a red flag, because if the lawsuit was being filed regardless, why is Crawford not even like a part of this? He was a part of the actual traffic stop. So why he not taking part in this? You could get free money out the city because Crawford, we know he got bread, right? He just allegedly got $50 million. And when he was like trying to sue Top Rank and stuff, he hired top-notch people in the industry, like attorneys to represent him. So we know he got a good legal team. So that is, for me, that is a bit of a red flag. Why is Bud not involved in this lawsuit if he felt that it was strong enough to go to court and win in court against the city? You know, is Bud just like, I got so much bread, I can't be bothered? Because for me, if you violate my rights, I'm violating you. Whether, you know, I mean, obviously I would have to do it in a legal way because I'm not trying to go to prison or something. But yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to turn it up, and I'm going to try to get back. I'm a person of principle. I don't care about nothing else. I care about principle. So if I have to waste some extra time or go to court on my day off to prove a point and make the city pay, I'm going to do it. So if everybody in the vehicle felt that way, it seemed like everybody would be on the lawsuit, but for whatever reason, Crawford isn't. So things to think about. For more boxing news, subscribe. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.